constant innovation, unparalleled education, groundbreaking global business education you'll find only at Oxford College of Business. That's because all we do, all we are, is business education.
Addressing the gathering yesterday, the chairperson of the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka, Dr. Deepika Udugama, raised concerns about forged organizations that are canvassing funds for human rights issues.
These bogus organizations, they use the term human rights, either center or organization or institute or institution, etc. They charge money, they collect money. For example, one organization organized a so-called peace march from the north of the country to the south and, collected money. Many thought that it was the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka. We have complained to the police in certain instances, and also we have written to the Constitutional Council and the ministry which is in charge of the NGO registration secretariat. And then on disappearances in the north, people being told that the Human Rights Commission will issue letters recognizing that so and so's child is disappeared and has sometimes charged up to 2 lakhs. So those matters have been taken to the police. They are under investigation, but the final conclusion of those investigations have not been communicated to the Human Rights Commission. People get a very wrong impression of independent institutions. We do not charge for the complaints procedure. We do not collect money for anything. We do not have campaigns.
Dr. Udugama also highlighted on issues received by the Commission with regard to violations of human rights.
2 major points when we look at the overall picture presented by these complaints. One is that there are many complaints about issues relating to personal liberty, in other words, custodial violations, harassment mainly by the police. But in the north, we also get a lot of complaints about, at least we've received some complaints about alleged harassment by who people think are intelligence officers, either police intelligence or military intelligence. So that is also a factor. We are in conversation, we are continuing to have discussions with the police in this regard, because it is very clear that strong police reforms are needed for this. This is not to completely condemn the police, not at all. We do see very good, honorable police officers. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, we cannot ignore these developments. Arbitrary arrests and detention, 298.
Touching on concerns pertaining to schools, Dr. Udugama specifically highlighted action taken against students.
So this is a new trend actually that we are seeing. It has been there for a long time, but now we are seeing sort of an increase, a gradual increase in the number of complaints we get about the violent manner in which disciplinary action sometimes is taken against students. Now, this does not mean that the Human Rights Commission promotes indiscipline in schools. Not at all. And we have now requested from the Ministry of Education that we be able to meet principals of all national schools. We don't think that we can produce the type of democratic citizens through this education system that is solely focused on exams. This is an obsession, exam obsession. So we can't blame the students, obviously. The system has to be corrected. So it requires actually curriculum revisions and a whole lot of other changes that need to take place. We hope that to release the report of the Education Policy Subcommittee this year, which will recommend quite radical reforms. This is something we take very seriously, and I must say very frankly, even this 25% that is reserved for the all boys, all girls category, from a human rights point of view, is very problematic. Very, very problematic. Now, this will not meet with the approval of larger society for sure, but from a human rights point of view, all these quotas are very problematic, unless it's a quota for children, disabled children, or from marginalized communities. Otherwise, you just cannot from a human rights point of view. But as I pointed out, we have a subcommittee on education policy and human rights. We hope to release the report this year, and all these issues will be addressed. Human rights and democracy are 2 sides of the same coin. And so one of the major problems for human rights protection in the country is patronage politics. Patronage politics means people are denied equality. So when we see the school admissions, it also then, is about preferences given to a certain class. Then I think we can take a position on that, because it's a very specific instance. We do have to take very strong measures if we have to correct the system. And another thing is about the resource allocation to schools. Recommendations are concerned, there is no provision currently where you can get those implemented through the courts. Well, we are a toothless tiger because our government officials do not follow the law.